there's so many things to be thankful for, y'all. In a time of life when it seems like the world is going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that we, just like they tell us on airplanes, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And because if you don't, and you go down, and right, and you pass out, you can't help out anybody else around you. So I just want to encourage you. You are worth it. You matter. Be present. Control what you can control. Your actions, your attitude, and your gratitude. Your actions, your attitude, and your gratitude. And so that you can operate at max capacity, max potential, so that you can bless and serve those around you with the gifts and talents and strengths and abilities that God has given you and that you have developed over the course of your life, so that you can bring the change to the world, to make the world a better place. What is going on, EQ gangsters? Hopefully you all are doing amazing. And if you're not doing amazing, I pray that there will be an episode in our podcast somewhere that will add value to you and help you through whatever you're feeling right now. And just want to say this too. I'm so thankful for you all. We just got done with an EQ Mafia membership web conference, kind of group coaching event. And I told each of them just how thankful I am for them. And I want to tell you, whether you're watching our YouTube channel, listening to our podcast, I just want to thank you for who you are, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being in this journey, this at least as the our podcast, having our podcast as part of your emotional fitness program. That's awesome. And thank you. Thank you for those of you that have shared with me. In fact, I want to share this with you guys. A friend of mine reached out to me this evening. And in fact, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm going to keep talking to you. So if you're watching on YouTube, you will see me typing right now. If you're on the podcast, obviously that will be irrelevant. But I want to just share this comment that a friend of mine, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a while since I've talked to this guy. Super guy, he and his wife, a phenomenal couple. And out of the blue, again, it may be years since he and I have last communicated. And this is what he sent me. Noble, hermano, just sending some love. Love all the content you are putting out. The next class I'm in. Love all the family updates as well. In my 33 years of life, you have been the most impactful person in my life. Just want to say I really appreciate you. And if I was not talking to you right now, I'd probably be crying, because when I first read it, I got emotional. So it was humbling, very humbling to receive that message. And I was super thankful that at that moment in time, God, for whatever reason, put me on his brain, that he would reach out to me and share that incredibly humbling, powerful, impactful message to me. And we've talked about this. I think I've even done an episode very recently within the last 4 or 5 episodes on the power of doing that, of just sending a message to a friend, a colleague, a loved one, family member, and just write to them and tell them how you feel. And the more specific that you can be, the better. But man, how that just brightened my day, made me feel. I've been kind of in a weird state recently, this weird kind of emotional state, and it just meant a lot to me. So, I just want to say, Jose, if you're listening to this, man, again, thank you for your message. And like I said in my response back, I'm so thankful for you and the positive impact you've had in my life, the times that we've been able to spend together. And again, dude, I cannot thank you enough for sending that message to me. I also want to share a story that a friend of mine in a recent podcast interview that he had me on. His name is Rob Actis, and he hosts the podcast called Living the Law of Action Show by Rob Actis. You can go to robactis.com is his website. He also has a radio show, and he shared this really powerful story. This is going to be a great exercise, some practical tips that I'm going to share with you all that he shared with me. I thought was very powerful. Let me share a quote first that he shared on that podcast interview that really helped me and gave me some neat perspective. He said, if you're in a depressed state, typically people that are depressed are stewing on, brooding on the past, living in the past. If you're anxious and feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, you're stewing on the future. And so he said, it's really helpful to work on and being more intentional and being more mindful, living in the present. If you can increase your mindfulness, you can increase your ability to live in the moment and in the present and not sell yourself short and those around you short because you're, again, living in the past or in the future. And he shared this story. He was with some friends, went out to dinner at this fancy restaurant with some friends, and his buddy sitting next to him, like they all ordered these fancy steaks, these really nice steaks. And they brought all the steaks out, brought all the food out, and next thing you know, he looks over at his buddy, and his buddy had finished his plate, and it was like literally 5 minutes after they had gotten the meals and stuff. And so he's like, dude, how was your steak? And he's like, yeah, it was good. And he's like, dude, look, I can tell you've been anxious since you showed up to the restaurant. He's like, will you do something for me? And the guy's like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, will you do an exercise with me? And he's like, okay, what are you talking about? He's like, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take three deep breaths. And I want you to pay attention to all 5 senses. What are you smelling right now? Give me a few words of what you may be smelling. Okay, now let's go to your ear. What are you hearing? What sounds are you hearing? What are you feeling? How does the clothes feel that you're wearing right now? How does the chair feel that you're sitting in right now? Is there a breeze? Is there a fan blowing? What do you feel on your skin? What are you tasting right now? Is there an aftertaste? Are you tasting anything in particular, right? So he kind of walked them through these various questions to emphasize and bring attention to each of his 5 senses. And he got his buddy, to kind of slow way down. And then he said, okay, open your eyes. He said, now take a bite of my steak, and I just want you to try this steak real quick. So he cuts off a piece of his steak, gives it to his buddy. Buddy tries it. He's like, dude, your steak is way better than mine. How did you get the best cut of steak? He's like, that's not what mine tasted like. And he's like, no, you didn't taste your steak because you weren't present, bro. Your mind was on whatever else you were thinking about that was causing you stress and anxiety, and you weren't in the present. You inhaled it, and you didn't even realize you had finished your steak. You ate so fast, and you were so unavailable or unpresent. And so he said, dude, think about think about what it took to get that steak, this fine cut of steak, to your plate. How many people were involved in that process? What was that process like? Like, dude, there's so many things to be thankful for. That you think about the environment we're in. You're here with your friends. This moment may never happen again with these people in this time, in this restaurant, with this set of circumstances that, we all have the ability to afford this. We all have the ability to block off time, to spend time together. Like, think of all the things, man, that we have to be thankful for. And so what that taught me was, when he shared that story, it just taught me, man, that thankfulness and gratefulness is a great mindfulness exercise. It's a great way to get us out of the past or out of the future and into the present. To really ask yourself, what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? And be present. Your breath, your hair, your pulse, your blood, your eyebrows, your ears, the staples in my head. For those of you all that are that are on YouTube can see my staples in my head that I got from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu headbutt from grappling with a buddy of mine. And so I'm thankful for the staples that were able to, stick my head together so that when I go back to jits, number one, I can go back to jiu-jitsu sooner, because now I won't be bleeding all over everybody, because my head will have healed sooner than if I hadn't gotten the stitches, the staples. So there's so many things to be thankful for, y'all. In a time of life when it seems like the world is going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that we, just like they tell us on airplanes, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And because if you don't, and you go down, and right, and you pass out, you can't help out anybody else around you. So I just want to encourage you. You are worth it. You matter. Be present. Control what you can control. Your actions, your attitude, and your gratitude. Your actions, your attitude, and your gratitude. And so that you can operate at max capacity, max potential, so that you can bless and serve those around you with the gifts and talents and strengths and abilities that God has given you and that you have developed over the course of your life, so that you can bring the change to the world, to make the world a better place. There's another episode too. I don't remember the episode number. I wish I did. But if you go through my episodes and look for the episode with Colonel Darcy Liebeck, Colonel Darcy Liebeck, or Colonel Schnack, Darcy Schnack or Liebeck. One is her married name and one is her maiden name. And she's a colonel, full board colonel. She's my classmate. Amazing, amazing lady. She is the director for the Center of Enhanced Performance at West Point, which is, in fact, I just read the U.S. News and World Report's, rankings, college rankings, and it's ranked, I want to say, I don't know if it was engineering or something, it's ranked like the number 2 school in the country. It's in the top 5 or 10, but I want to say it was number 2 in like civil engineering or mechanical. I don't remember exactly the details, but it's for sure top 10 college or university in the country. So she is the director for the Center of Enhanced Performance. She said, Noble, and listen to the interview. It's really neat. She shares a lot of neat insights, and I want to interview her again at some point. The top 5% of cadets, or top 5 or 10%, and the bottom 5 or 10% of cadets. And she said, with the bottom 5 to 10%, one of the areas that we will work on with them to help grow their confidence is grow their gratitude. And I was like, what in the world? What does gratitude have to do with confidence? And she said, and again, she says it a lot more eloquently than I'm about to, but when you become more grateful. And so when you become more grateful and you begin to make a habit of gratefulness and a habit of gratitude, it forces you to become more aware and more present and more self-aware of what is good in your life. So much so that you begin to realize, wow, there's a lot of things to be thankful for. And the more things that we realize that we are thankful for and we make that exercise a habit, we start to become more aware of our strengths and our abilities and our gifts and our talents, and how we can bring those gifts, talents, and strengths and abilities to the table, to the world, to make the world a better place, which in turn increases confidence. And I never, ever would have made that connection prior to her sharing kind of that journey of gratefulness to confidence. So again, if you have not heard that episode, please go back. Colonel Darcy Schnack, the director of the Center for Enhanced Performance at West Point. It's an excellent episode. So I would ask you, what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? Take the time, set aside 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just start jotting it down. Make it a family thing. We've made it a family thing. My wife, I'm so thankful that she's done this, but she put a board up on a refrigerator, like a dry erase board. And one of the sections of this kind of family board that she made is, what are we grateful for? And so putting in there every day, here are 1, 2, 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then she's got a section for each of our names, 1 or 2 things that we're grateful for the other person in the family. So again, training and exercising our gratitude muscle, our thankfulness muscle, which also helps to increase our mindfulness, awareness, and presence muscle, to be more present in the moment rather than, again, worrying about the past or getting stressed about the future, helping us to get more present and in the moment. So maybe some of those exercises could help you out as well to apply to your life, to your family. If you're single, stick a dry erase board on your refrigerator, and what are you grateful for? What gifts are you thankful for about yourself? Right. So anyway, those are a couple exercises or examples that you can add to your list. If you can also do say a prayer for me. One thing that I've had a few people tell me recently, and even in the past, Noble, I've never heard anybody share Bible stories like you share Bible stories. You talk about Bible stories in ways that I have never heard anybody talk about Bible stories before. And for some of you guys may know, some of you may not know, that I am doing a Bible study on Saturday mornings for anybody. Anyone can participate, but it's about leadership stuff because I love leadership. And so I'm doing these Bible studies each Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Shoot me a message at noble@eqgangster.com if you'd like to be on that list. I can send you the link. And someone had said in there, man, dude, how you explain stuff is just, I would listen to every Bible story there is if I heard you explaining it. So one of the things that I'm thinking about and praying about is doing a whole separate podcast on Bible stories, on me sharing the Noble Army Airborne Ranger version of the Bible. And I'm trying to figure out a name. I'm trying to think about, oh man, this is, because I for me, I'm passionate about God's word, about the Bible. I want to make sure that I communicate it in a way that keeps to the purity and truth of the text of what God is intending. And so anyway, if you can say some prayers for me about that, I would super duper appreciate it. And thank you for all of you that, again, are part of this emotional growth journey. Please check out our free course. We have a free course on EQ, on emotional intelligence, on our website, eqgangster.com. It's a free course. Tell your friends about it. If you think you've got some family members or friends or colleagues, coworkers that could use an intro to EQ, to emotional intelligence, have them go check out eqgangster.com and to go, check out the free course, because, especially in our society today, I just think so many people could use this, need this, can use this content on getting healthier emotionally, starting and continuing an emotional fitness program. I think is critical, y'all. It's just critical for those of you all that are wanting to level up your emotional fitness program to that next level. Please check out eqgangster.com/mafia and check out our community. I cannot wait for you guys that are part of that EQ Mafia, gonna be a part of that EQ Mafia, to check out the membership, the Mafia that Kathy, my awesome wife, has put together. It is fire, y'all. There's 100 to 200 hours of content already in there. We are going to be doing 2 live group coaching sessions a month on Zoom with everybody in the Mafia, in the EQ Mafia. And one of those 2 times, at least once a month, if not at a minimum every other month, bringing in a guest speaker to talk about a subject matter that they are experts in that pertain to, relate with emotional health and emotional intelligence. So excited. Again, if you're ready to level up your emotional fitness program, check out eqgangster.com/mafia.